Welcome to the True Colours podcast, where we share our views on life, relationships, and culture, exploring big questions and providing simple answers to them, with your hosts, Jay Clare and Sally Olver. Welcome to True Colours podcast, episode 24 or 5.
25, I think. Hi,
Yeah.
Jay.
Hi, Sally. How are you?
Oh, yeah, I'm okay. I've had better days. We had a little bit of a chat before the cast. Just
That's an epic rant,
putting it in, Jay.
but we're forbidden from playing it. I give you in a few months' time, we'll come back, we'll have a listen and see if we're in a spot to play it.
Did you think that was a quality rant? Did you?
Yeah, it had lots of passion.
There was passion. Well, that's the Mauritian blood. You can identify with that, can you not?
Yeah, I'm a very passionate person. I would describe myself as very passionate. Like, I've got that thing where, like, I'm talking, but I'm very loud when I talk, and Annie thinks that I'm angry or aggressive, and I'm like, no, I'm just talking.
No, just explaining what happened, man. Yeah, I get it.
And if I need to talk on top of you, I will just speak louder.
Yeah.
Like an obnoxious asshole. Yeah.
That's right. However, the rant that I just went on, that was motivated, but that wasn't just me talking. That was motivated by a lot of anger and offence.
Mm.
But that's okay, Jay, because that's life, isn't it? And that's what happens.
Right. This is what happens in life. Like right now, we are living through a moment of history as we speak right now. Right now, we still do not know if the Orange Man will get a season 2.
Well, you know what? Okay, so like we've discussed on different earlier podcasts,
Yeah.
I know nothing about politics, and the reason I don't educate myself and I'm so ill-informed is because I don't trust the media. I just want someone to tell me.
Well, we can talk about that. We can talk about the fact, I think one of the funniest things out of all of this is just going to show how crap the media is. I remember for the whole election cycle, they were basically talking about how Joe Biden was going to win in a landslide. Basically, right now, if you actually add up the numbers and the ones that Trump should win, he will probably be he'll be the president again.
It looks that way, doesn't it?
Yeah. So, and the measure that I typically use is, what do the sports betting companies say?
Yeah. Don't follow the media. Don't follow.
No,
what is it?
Don't.
CNN.
Because they follow the trends, right? And their initial trend was they were hearing polls. Polls were saying that Biden was going to win, so the odds were like, oh, well, he's going to win, so he must be favourite. And as the day progressed, you saw the odds of being crap to being then the favourite up until like before. I think he was odds-on favourite to win according to the bookies. So I take that as a really good measure because I'm going to win some money. It's a mathematical decision I made here that I thought Trump would win, not an emotional one. I just looked at the numbers. I'm like, I think that guy's going to win again.
Numbers don't lie.
This is true.
Now, so are you happy about that outcome?
I wouldn't say that I'm happy. The other day was just like, it makes the world very interesting, and that's what I like about it. Like, people are angry. He said some crazy stuff. They don't like it, but somewhere in the middle ground, he's doing something okay, actually pretty good. But it's just surrounded by some ridiculous stuff he says and ridiculous stuff he does. But I will also say there's been lots of stuff, in my opinion, that has been conflated way too many times. Like, there's this time when, was it like those rallies? I think that was, and someone died, and I think there was like neo-Nazis there, nationalists, hardcore lefties, and just, there's a melting pot of angry people, right?
Yeah, right.
And unfortunately, someone died, I believe. And then when he was talking about it, he basically said something down the lines of how he condemns white supremacists and white nationalists and Nazis. And then he continued on to say, and yes, there were some good and there were some fine people on both sides of it. So he excluded the whole Nazis, white nationalists, said, no, they need to be, what's the word they use? Denounced all the time. And he did that. But all they do now is they said, this is what he said about a rally where there was white supremacists. There are some good people on one side and bad people on the other side. So they're suggesting that he was calling white nationalists or white supremacists good people. But that was without the context of the part where he just denounced them.
Right.
So, that's being used as an example of perpetuating a lie until people believe it. So that's an example of the things where I'm like, the media, I just don't trust the media anymore. And I don't think a lot of people do. And Trump is a result of that. That's just the reality of it.
It's interesting that you say that, because people do that with the Bible all the time. They truncate what like a Bible verse, and they're like, oh, that's so, this, like say something like, wives need to submit to their husbands. And they're like, oh, that's, not equality or blah, blah, blah. But if you read that whole verse, it actually goes on to say how husbands are to treat their wives as well. And when it says submit, I don't think it means like you just have to,
Yes, master.
Yeah, correct, exactly. I don't think it's saying that. I think it's just saying that the male's the head of the household, and you work together, sort of thing. But yeah, people edit, don't they? They edit stuff,
it's really bad. And that's what
the wrong message.
There's a massive gain now, 100%. It's what I've noticed is just how much grey's in the world, yet people turn it black and white. And it's bad. And it's just as bad as lying, but they just manipulate things in certain ways where if you structure one thing one way, or if you show something out of order, they just do it all the time. And even one of the funniest things was, I thought, was on the back of Trump winning, is that whole Russian collusion. Anyway, there were investigations after investigations after investigations. They didn't show anything. It's like, oh, we think maybe. Like, think maybe isn't like, did someone do that?
Yeah.
So the media was running with it for basically the first 2 years of the Trump campaign. And I'm like, if all these government investigations have done it and haven't found anything, and you're still talking about it, technically you were basically peddling a conspiracy theory for 2 years. Like, it wasn't anything that was real, yet the mainstream media picked up on it and played it like it was the truth, but it wasn't the truth. And that's what is wrong with the world. And as much as a crazy person as Donald Trump is, like I said, he is the result of their lies, and they don't even realize it themselves.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I think it's only getting worse, because now people can create their own, pseudo media platforms and just basically say whatever they want to say. I just went down, I was really tired last night, and I was just going down a little YouTube rabbit warren, which is what you do when you feel tired. And I came across, I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my goodness, like, this has just gone too far. There was this dude that's created a little documentary thing on why Jennifer Aniston is such a nasty person. And it says reports say that blah blah blah. Others say she went straight to her trailer during the filming of blah blah blah, where the rest of them were in the cafe enjoying a 1-hour lunch. Jennifer was in her trailer eating her salad. And I'm like, far cry from she's a bad person.
I don't like
Do you know
those
what I mean?
things.
Like, it's just they just throw anything out now, and it's like you can't.
That's why I think, like I was saying back to the Trump thing, is he's been the perfect fodder for the media.
Yes.
Right?
Oh,
yeah. They might want to decry him as much as they like, but at the same time,
yeah.
They love the amount of attention they can get through covering the guy. Like, people love the outrage. People are there's outrage porn, and I think it's like, well and truly, a lot of these news channels is none of them go to look and find all the amazing things that happen in the world. It's like, what's the trash of the world? Where can we find it and make people get angry and feel not safe? It's just terrible. Yeah, as that documentary.
I'm gonna be a little.
Hang on.
Yes, I'm sorry. You go.
Yeah, that documentary was showing like childhood 2.0, how much safer the world has become. Yet we're so paranoid about how unsafe it is. It's basically an irrational fear.
Yeah, that the media projects onto society.
Outdoor phobia.
Yeah, it's bad, and it's only getting worse. But just back to what you were saying, like, I have to confess, sometimes I like a little bit of trash talk. Just a little bit. I got to admit it, man. I mean, I don't go.
That's why I don't know why you wouldn't like politics. You'd love that. You should see their little like snidey little comments to each other. It's hilarious.
Because it's too much. It's too much. Like, as I said, just a little bit. Like, sometimes just a little bit. It's a little bit funny. I just get my little dose, and then that's it. I'm like, okay.
Like a bit of like a Big Brother kind of.
A little bit. I didn't like what he had to say about Jennifer Aniston. And by the way, for the record, I don't believe any of it. And the other thing is, even if she is like that, so what? What, just because she's a movie star, she has to be this like
nice person?
Yeah, she doesn't have to be.
What's
you eat yourself, Jennifer. You go to your toilet.
We'll give someone else the right to define someone else for someone else what nice is.
Oh well,
nice by society's standards.
There is a standard.
The normal nice.
There is a window. There is a general window. You must admit.
A window for what?
Niceness. Like you're saying, who's to say what niceness is? There are some obvious nice characteristics, and then there are some.
You know how you know someone. The easiest measure of how to know if someone is a nice person or not. The easiest way is how they treat all people who deliver them a service. I think that's a measure of how someone's a nice person.
100%.
Hey, you know when you see people treat someone like trash just because like they're the delivery person or something like that.
I can't.
You know that person is not a nice person. I think that is the rule. Like people,
I try and be extra nice to those people. Do you know why? Because I just know how much shit they cop. Not delivery people, but people in service that are probably let's just put it this way: they're not the CEO. So whether they're a waitress or a cleaner or a postman or whatever, you just know that somewhere along the line there's someone being a bit passive aggressive, and I just cannot. I can't handle that. It's awful.
Yeah,
it's awful.
It is awful.
And it's just all it is a way for someone to feel better about themselves by making someone else feel inferior.
Yeah.
But even so, it's not nice if you're on the receiving end of it.
No, it's not. People can.
I don't rate it at all. I don't rate people that make people feel small. There's that, but what I really some people overtly make people feel small, and that's gross enough. But when you're doing it passive aggressively, like cloaked in, I'm just trying to help.
I hate those people.
Oh, dude. Next
Yeah.
topic.
Well, speaking of that, let's talk about friends that you get rid of, or what's the topic that you want to do? That's my blunt, brute force version of it. Friends you want to get rid of.
It's not free. No,
Not like take out, like
no,
executed.
no.
There's
There's no hitmen.
Just mean ghosted.
Yeah.
Or just cut the
you know,
tie. I'll wait
wanted
till you contact me.
Yeah. I mean, we've been legit friends for over 20 years or something. I would say that you and I, we're more than friends. We're not just mates.
You're just self-assessing there, or what's going on?
Well, I'd better be.
Are we in the BFF realm? Is that what we're saying? Should we get BFF tattoos?
Yeah.
I'll tell you. I know what I'm going to.
Designed my original tattoo.
I didn't really design anything. Let me just put it out there. I didn't go out and sketch the word Matty out. I just want to be clear is I found a cool font and I made it work.
Well, yes.
Yes, that's it.
Work. But you are the one when I came to you and said, I said, Jay, I want to get
just like the Bible. Take my stamp.
I said to you, dude, I want to get a tattoo for Matt's birthday. I want to get his name.
At the start, I imagine that I would have been like,
you weren't. No. I said I want to get a tattoo for Matt's birthday. I want to get his name. Can you help me? And you're like, yeah, cool. Yeah. And I said, I just want something small. And you go, nah. You go, if you're going to do it, you do it properly or I'm not helping you. It's like, all right.
I can't remember that at all.
I remember.
Yeah.
Because I said I wanted to get his name, but I wanted it small. And you just give me the flat, nah. If you're not going to commit, I'm not helping you.
And how big is it now? That?
Yeah. It's decent, and I'm wrapped. I love it.
Matt must love it. He's like, mate, my wife's got my name on her back.
Yeah, where's she gonna go? Now.
You like that meme of someone getting their partner's name lasered off their butt,
Yeah.
It would be the worst, just having a scar of the person's name.
What's worse?
Yeah, just leave it.
Wouldn't you just get tattooed over?
We'll just say it was my favorite dog.
My favorite dog was Luke.
Yeah, we called him Luke after Luke Skywalker in Star Wars.
Yeah, there's this whole narrative behind Luke.
You got to make it up. Yeah.
And then Luke died. It was really sad. The vet tried to revive him, but he couldn't.
It was not the Rise of the Jedi, was it?
No. Yeah, so I was interested, and I think earlier on in our very early episodes we touched on this because it's probably something we when we chat privately we revisit. We're just like, when's it time? When's it time to just call the expiration date on certain people, which I don't want to do. There's something in my heart that is quite proud that I have these long-standing relationships with more than one person. It's awesome. We've got history. We've got deep connection built over years and years and years. We've shared births, deaths, marriages. We have all that history, consistent, like building blocks. Like that is a real, like I appreciate that deeply. And obviously that's not going to be the outcome with every friendship or relationship that you have in your life, realistically, right? But I feel it's a shame when you have journeyed closely with someone, you have had that, you've shared a lot. You've given a lot of yourself, they've given to you, and then all of a sudden they just start
fading away.
fading away.
You notice it. I think you notice it with all these friendships where it's like you catch up and then it's like, oh, it's gonna be a while until you've spoken, and then you kind of have a phone call, and then it's like
Facebook comment.
And then it's like,
and then you're just done.
Have I reversed hard enough yet?
So,
yeah, I think it happens that way. You know,
when do you call it?
You don't need to call anything. Like, you don't need to separate these people into categories, right? You just be like, someone I know, you might not be friends with them anymore, but you still know them. So if someone
I'm not just talking about acquaintances. I'm not talking about people. I'm talking about close.
Yeah.
So you just go, all right, too bad, so sad, moving on.
No, it's not a too bad, so sad. It's a shut the door on this chapter if it ever opens up again. It does, but until then, I'm not going to bother myself with that.
So that doesn't upset you at all.
Not anymore. No,
right.
Probably not.
It upsets me.
No, well,
I get up.
Clearly, it has to be. It takes two to tango kind of thing. Like, that friendship isn't ended just because of the other person. Like, we all have a part to play in these friendships staying alive.
Yeah, but what if you're making that effort and that effort's not reciprocated? Then it is a one-way street.
Well, you shouldn't. That's the thing with things of doing, and you should be doing for a sense of reciprocation. You should just be doing it because you want to. And if that person,
that of course that's the motivation. Of course that's the motivation because I want to. I'm saying, what if that's not then reciprocated?
Well, did you ask for?
So if you call someone and you leave a voicemail and say, hey, I haven't seen you for a while. Should I catch up? I'm available next week. And they just don't respond.
Yeah, well, that's just rude.
Thank you.
No, well, if that happened to me, I'm like,
people are rude. People are very rude.
But I would take that as clearly they don't want to speak to me anymore, and
right. So, and I'm saying, it's absolutely their choice. There is nothing. We are not chained in any way. I am just acknowledging that I find it hurtful. It hurts me because I loved and respected the person.
Well, do you never think about like what happened?
Of course I do. That's what I'm trying to raise with you right now.
Well, do you not have any theories for any of these examples? Like, do you not go, oh, maybe it was this, or?
I don't. I really don't. I don't know. Just life. It's a circle of life, Jack.
Yeah, it is.
Some will fade away, and you just got to be good with that.
Yeah, I've never been. I'm very different to you. I think you and my brother remind me of a similar type of personality where you have lots of friends. You've got like large friendship circles, even though you've got like your close friends. You kind of have like a very broad, whereas I've got like maybe 10 people at the most that I would care about spending any time with. And that probably includes like my brother and cousin. And well.
Yeah.
There's a lot of spaces already taken up.
Yeah.
Whereas, do you think I'm speaking in untruth there, that you've got like a wide circle of friends because of the different communities and different things you're involved with?
Yeah.
And your church.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't do that. I've just got my family, work people, and a couple of friends.
Yeah, see, that's Matt. Matt's the same. He's like, don't need it.
Like
Nah.
even the weird part is how good friends we are. But I know you speak a lot to Annie, but I don't speak to Matt that often. But I know that next time I see him, it's not like we will have any trouble like talking.
Nah. You were talking about something boring like sport or politics.
Footy.
Cricket. Always. As soon. Oh, g'day, mate. Oh, yeah. Just see that 6.
Down.
Right. It's like they barely said hello. They don't even really.
The man language, my friend. I'm telling you, there's a man language, yes, and talking about sports is part of the man language phenomenon. That I don't think. I think there are women who can speak the man language, but there is a man language.
There's a man language.
Yeah.
I think I've got a little bit of man language in some areas, but then in other areas,
just like there is well and truly woman language as well.
Oh yeah. I don't know how many times you're like, why do you talk like that, dude? What are you saying? Shut up, Jason. Am I wrong?
Cool. So did we solve that issue? Like,
no, we really didn't. You are obviously not the right person to ask this question because
I am the right person to ask this question because you're clearly, and there's nothing wrong with your reaction to it. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying it's me.
Like I've only got 4 spaces, man. So if you don't make the cut, there's people lining up.
It's pretty interesting though. Like I've got like this set of probably at like 5 or 6 like good friends for like a good decade. That like I'm saying, some have been longer, some are shorter, but around that kind of number. And then I add like 2 to 3 people that I work with in every work. Yeah. And that's kind of it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
We work together, Jay.
Oh yeah, we did too. Blockbuster.
See, this is what I'm talking about. Like, we've got solid memories. Solid. But then we've got
I didn't know you from work though. That's the thing. I was like, oh, you're an old work friend. I'm like, no, technically not. You're an old.
No, we are not old work friends. No way. We're far broader than that.
Oh, we met at university.
We met at university. Yeah.
Yeah.
That day that you thought I was Indian and I thought you were Samoan. Oh! We were both right off track. Who knew? Both Mauritians. We're like magnets. Mauritian magnets.
So how do you want to? Is there anything else you want to talk about this? Like clearly.
No. It's just something that I need to work through myself. It's something that I need to accept and be okay with. And I think a lot of it's got to do with the fact that I'm an only child. I don't have brothers and sisters. So from a very young age, like my friends were my family. They were the closest thing to siblings for me. So I cherished that. I'm not saying you don't cherish because you've only got 2 mates.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I know, as is Matt. He goes, I got my cousins. Owen, he's the boss. He goes, I'm good. He goes, yeah, you, my cousins, Owen. Happy Matt. Yeah, so look, that's just something that it's just a work in progress for me. Just need to be in it and just be okay.
Yeah, we're only, halfway through life, but we'll get there one day.
Hey, maybe this is something we can talk about on our next podcast because I don't have the research, or I haven't researched it or backed it.
Yeah.
But I saw a psychologist today for Nathaniel because he is what you call twice exceptional, which means he's actually more than twice exceptional. Twice
exceptional? Are you serious? That's like a classifying of human being nowadays.
Well, in the ASD world, yeah. So you've got like you can have ADHD, ASD, or ASD, high IQ, anxiety, ADHD. Like you can have a combination. Nathaniel's actually got more than two, right? But I was speaking. So today was the initial consultation, and she wanted to speak to me first before she wants to get really good insight into his profile before she met him. And she doesn't like to have the child in the room in the first meeting because you got to speak about a lot of sensitive matters, and she doesn't want the child feeling bad about themselves.
Yes.
And she said we were talking about ADHD and the nuances of ADHD. Like we've talked about before, people think that ADHD is just hyperactivity and the inability to concentrate, where it's so much more than that. It's a lot more than that. And she asked me a really interesting question. She said, does he experience shame? I was like, yeah, he really does. Like he's really, like when he feels triggered, like he gets quite depressed. And I said, and oftentimes that is linked to something someone said, a belief that he's been reduced or criticized in some way or corrected in some way, like he just like, oh. And I was like, you know what? I do the same thing. Like I recognize what you're asking. I actually do the same thing. And she said it was on the next podcast, I will correct myself if it's not the right thing, but it's something to the tune of, it's called social rejection dysmorphia. Have you heard of body dysmorphia? When you don't see your body for what it is, like anorexic people could think they're fat, or large people can think they look like they did when they were 20 kilos less. It's called body dysmorphia, right? So there's this social rejection dysmorphia. Like I said, I'm not a psychologist, disclaimer, like I have to double check that I've got that title.
Social rejection dysmorphia.
Yes. So when someone says something to you and just a conversation, right? And you interpret that as a rejection or a judgment or something like that, your response to it is extreme. So you know how we were talking about, like I've always been quite easily offended by what people say or what people think, and you're always like, man, for years you've always been like, who cares? Don't worry about him. What do you care for? Like you always said that to me, and I'm like, oh, you don't understand, you robot. But it's a thing. So so something connected to ADHD is this: the conclusion that we make is someone's opinion or someone's comment is way more extreme than what it is. I'm like, I'm going to research that. That's really interesting because I can relate.
The other thing that I heard about that, and which really turned me from not caring to not caring at all, was when I read this line, I was like, oh, that means a lot to me when I hear it that way. And it's like, why would you get offended out of a few words that some random person or any person made up in their head and then said out loud? They're just like words. I was like, oh, so this is when you conceptualize the thing that it is, and then you're like, yeah, like they're just this one person.
It's just like compute output.
Yeah.
Right, and then we had this extreme reaction to just that output that someone's
in their stupid little head.
Yeah. Well, like I said to you, like I recognize it, and I'm not too big to say, all right, that's a weak spot of mine. But again, in saying that, people could try and be nicer. Because there are situations where people are out of line, and it's not social rejection dysmorphia, if that's the correct title. Sometimes people are just out of line. Let's just put
Sometimes
that
people
down.
are just out of line.
And
People in general
they're entitled to their opinions. But my question for you, Jason, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So just because people have opinions, does that mean they need to
Share
voice them?
I think it comes from the type of person that you are and whether or not you feel comfortable enough to share them. Like like me, for some reason, as I explained last time, other people's opinion annoy me. So for some reason, I feel a need to put my opinion out there as some bizarre retort to the rest of the world's thought on a specific opinion.
Right. So in the situation that we were talking about earlier, would you have responded to that? So I'm just gonna like reduce what we were talking about. So if you've got a social media platform and someone's commented on your platform and said something that's really not in line with what you're trying to communicate at all, would you have then responded to that? I chose not to, but would you have entered that conversation?
I respond all the time.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. I respond in a way that is humiliating to people, but there's some people think I'm joking.
Do you do that to me, Jason? Is that what you've been doing this whole time? Have you been doing that for 20 years?
No, she still hasn't gotten on, which is great.
So do you do it in a way that's like kind of, hey, a jovial kind of jab?
Oh, yeah, well,
jovial
here's an
jab.
example. Like someone was having a laugh at something. All right, like, oh, you one of those people? And I'm like, yeah, I'm also part of that middle-aged balding man's club. To the other balding man, and
that's okay, isn't
it?
Well, if he's bald, you can't really deny that.
No, you can't.
I think it always comes down to the spirit in which it's written. Yeah. And you were saying earlier that you can take things out of context.
Yeah, you can. Like one of the ladies that I work with, she's like, oh, I got this email from so and so, and it like sounds really. I'm like, I read it. I'm like, are you sure?
Right.
I didn't read it that way at all. It's just like because I know how I can sometimes type. It sounds very abrasive, but I'm just
getting to the point.
I'm just like, I'm not going to fluff. I'm just going to say it how it is. It's like an example today where one of the guys I work with is like, so-and-so, we're getting the reports, like to get these reports done. And I'm like, it was just a long weekend. Like, we can't do the report I was supposed to do today in time. So I'm like, I'm not the person who manages this account. So, if you're the one who do, maybe we should have a meeting before the weekend to find out whether or not things that you're accountable for are going to happen. I don't know. That's the way I would look at it. And it's like, oh, no, that's not what I was saying. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'm like,
right.
So there was no expectation for me to work on the weekend. No. Okay, cool. So how would you expect me to do it first thing in the morning before the bed? I don't know. I think that stuff just confuses me. And I'm like, this doesn't sound right to me. But because I'm a legend, I went and got it done anyway. So
I have no doubt.
What I do.
So your position is that I think who better to ask? You were Insta famous for a long time. You were right.
I was not Instagram, Facebook.
Facebook famous, is that what it's called?
I wouldn't say famous. It's just.
Didn't you have like 20,000 followers or something?
20,000? More like 80.
That's a lot.
But,
that's a lot. 80,000. So.
It was stupid.
Hey?
so much time on that. What an idiot.
What's wrong with that?
Oh, geez, I could have been doing so much more productive stuff. If I
But
knew what I knew now, I would be in a much better place right now.
what in what respect?
Into, using my time
Oh,
appropriately.
yeah. Okay, I thought you meant in terms of being a vegan.
In terms of being a vegan, yeah. That's a
So
whole...
that's a whole nother discussion. But you would have got or would you? Or would you have gleaned, obviously if they're following you because they agree with you, right? So
So the magic is in, this is what the magic was always in, is creating something that you knew someone else would want to share. That was the magic. That's all it was.
right, okay.
So then
Like,
when they share it, and then when they share it to their page and some angry carnivore comes up and sees it, they then get offended and then they come back and comment back the other way.
and
It's very funny.
they comment on yours.
Yeah. They want to
attack you for being a vegan.
Oh yeah, all the time.
Really?
Oh, so I had some epic That's why I've got a social media leather brain. It's just
you're just like, man, that's nothing.
I mean, I even had a death threat. It's amazing.
Did you?
Yeah, a while ago when on MySpace actually, where I met my wife as well. Funny enough. Yeah, this psycho music person. It was pretty intense actually. Me and another guy, we both got death threats. It's actually funny when you think about it now.
There is nothing funny about that. I'm not laughing.
I was like, did we call the cops now or what's the game? And we did. And they're like, okay, we'll just put that down on a register. So
on MySpace. That's another thing you designed for me.
I did not design it.
I was talking to a friend the other day about MySpace, and I was like, I loved MySpace. You could put your music up and decorate it, and it was really cool. I enjoyed it.
Is that your review of MySpace 2004?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I could put my favorite music up there, and I could make it bright pink. Remember, we made it bright pink with sparkles, and it was great. I loved it.
I gotta tell you something truthful. I found my old MySpace profile.
Did you?
You weren't in my top friends. I only had 4.
I will accept if those top 4 were your bandmates and Annie. I will accept. If not, you're in trouble, mister.
That's exactly what it was. It was Annie, my band,
okay,
and my band members. Yeah,
it's fine. That's okay then. That's all right. That's fine. I'll accept that. And
maybe a couple other people.
You don't want to tell me that, man. You don't want to tell me that.
It's a long time ago.
It's you. They were good days. Yeah. I loved coming to see your band that I didn't know what you were saying. It was so much fun. I would come to your gigs, and I would be the happiest, shoutiest one there, not knowing what the heck you were talking about, and I would never listen to that music voluntarily.
Yeah, it's impressive that you. And that's why you're a real friend, Sally.
Mate, I was elbowing people out of the way. I'm like, get out of the way, that's my brother. And they were like, oh, sorry, man. Because we looked like they thought we were full blood. I was like, hey, that's my brother. Oh, dude, sorry. You're in Jay's band.
Did you just admit to looking Samoan?
Yeah. That's the beauty about being Mauritian. You look everything. And
it's called racially ambiguous.
And I was punching the air too. I was very excited.
That takes me way back.
My favorite gig I think you did was at the Esplanade. That was so good. That was so good. And
I love that you know you're definitely not a person who goes to live music because you called it the Esplanade.
what is it?
Co-
SB.
Just the,
The SB, sorry, I've been in WA for too long.
you got an Esplanade hotel there as well, I think, don't you?
Yeah, we do, but it's not St Kilda's SB. No way, no.
Have you'd never been back there since they've had a renovation, have you?
No.
Actually, I think they've
Did
no,
they
this is their
renovate
second. Yeah, it's totally different.
In what way?
Oh, it's no longer
Like yuppie.
They've gone. I would explain it as it's no longer a dirty pub. It's more of a bohemian vibe. It's not bad. I don't mind it.
It's all right. As long as I didn't go like full clean,
No,
minimalist.
It's not like the
I'm
the
like,
walls
I don't
still
want to
got
hang out
cracks.
there.
Walls still got cracks and shit in it, so still
Like lo-fi house music in the background. It's like, nah.
The hell is even lo-fi house music?
Like that, like real sort of like chill. It's just yuppie music.
All right, we're going to tie this up. I'm going to go soon. We've got a couple of questions for each other, yeah?
Yeah.
Do you want to go first or do you want to ask me first?
Okay, well, this kind of ties into the whole discussion we were having about friendships and relationships and all of that sort of stuff, right?
Yeah.
So why do we need the approval of others?
Why do we need the approval of others?
Yeah.
I think it's just a human connection thing. I think we're creatures of connection. So when someone, you want to feel like, for people, especially, I notice this feeling. I will say, I think I have been disappointed a few times in life where I liked a person, I was like, oh, this person's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And then you made an effort to be friends with them and you didn't get back. It's like, oh, okay, that's interesting. But yeah, and I think it's typically from those people that you actually like. When you meet someone, you're like, oh, I like this person.
Yeah, right.
You know that feeling, right? I don't get that feeling very often.
No, you don't.
The last person I got that feeling from was this random dude who was the drummer in a friend's band, and he used to be in a sort of bigger band. I just met this guy and I was just talking to him like, oh man, I really like you. You just get a feeling randomly.
Yeah.
I thought he's a really cool dude.
You like his energy.
Mm.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I would
think back.
No. I would say it's more the fact that I have no time to be friends with those people now.
Yeah.
Seriously, I've got 2 young kids. I ain't doing anything that these people are doing.
It changes everything, man. Yeah, changes everything in a good way, but yeah.
Mm. Yeah, it's in a good way. Definitely in a good way. Different way.
Yeah.
They all have their moments.
I would absolutely agree. I think it's a connection thing. It can also be like if someone has experienced some sort of emotional trauma, not necessarily just in childhood, if they have just experienced emotional trauma, that can has the potential, not in every situation, but it has the potential to make people quite needy and quite clingy because you fear abandonment. So you want to make sure that this person likes me and this person and this person approves of me and this person approves of me. It's like a little bit goes a little bit beyond just that human need for connection. It's actually a little bit.
The only real sense of approval I think I've ever wanted, and so I don't know if it's even if the word's approval. It's probably not approval. To an extent, approval, I would say, like my dad.
Yeah, right.
It's like a whole, it's really hard to explain, but like I always felt like I was trying to prove something. So that in a sense was searching for his approval too.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And they say, the same-sex parent getting the approval and the love and the affection and the modeling and all of that from the same-sex parent is critical for a child.
Mm.
And not only a child, I don't think it ever really goes.
Yeah.
Like somewhere deep in there, you're like, oh, no, I'm an adult now. Like, I've got my shit together and whatever. But somewhere deep is like, did I do good?
Yeah. I used to love telling my parents about all the good shit I was doing.
Yeah.
It's like, guess what? I got another job. Like, another job? I'm like, look how much it pays me. And like, oh, that's very good.
Yeah. Who cares if it's the 48th job that you've had in 2 years? Great work. Yeah, you should churn through the jobs. Not that you got fired. I want to make that really clear. You didn't get fired.
I've never gotten fired. I've just
you got bored.
And I got a role made redundant once as well. But that was best thing ever.
How many jobs have you had? A few.
Do you want me to count them? Actually, I'll do that, including like Blockbuster and Pizza Haven.
No.
Like real jobs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Get the photocopiers.
Yeah, they were the first ones.
Right, is it Rayco?
Yeah, 6. Including my own business.
Yes.
I've had 13 jobs.
That is way less than what I thought. I thought you had 13 jobs in like 1 year.
20 years.
That's
13 jobs in 20 years. You know how many jobs my brothers had in the same amount of time?
How many? 1.
Have a guess.
That is so Dave. I can so see that about him. Yes.
Yeah, I like my job. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. He's so uncomplicated. I love that. I love uncomplicated people. They're my favorite. Yes. So, all right. Approval.
And approval. That was now I have what I would say, as my daughter would say, a spicy one for you. Why do women gossip?
Well, it's not just women that gossip. Men gossip too.
Oh, nice. Why do people gossip?
To make themselves feel better. To make them feel better about themselves. That's the only reason that you would talk smack about another person.
See, it's like a projection thing.
Okay. There's a difference between gossip and what we were talking about before the show. All right? I think, to me, gossip is 2 things. Gossip is saying something unnecessary behind someone's back and then acting like their best friend to their face.
Yeah.
That. And the other thing that gossip is just having unnecessary conversations about someone's life, their life choices, that it has absolutely nothing to do with you. That's gossip. If something's happened to me and I'm really upset about it and I tell you about it because that was my experience, I don't believe that that's gossip. That's like you before reaching out going, are you okay? Are you okay? I was like, actually, no. Boom, right? That's different than, oh my gosh, Jay, listen to this. Blah, blah, blah. When you go, okay, like we got 2. I've got this like rule system in our home. It's like 2 questions. Was that necessary? Was it helpful?
Yeah, that's I've heard that before.
From me. I said it. I made it up. Unless it's out there. And I honestly, I hadn't seen it. Like I thought I made up on ice cream.
What ice cream?
I told you guys, Milo, years ago, I was like, oh my God, we were talking about like weird things that we do. Like if you put like, I don't know, cream on a banana or salt on it, like, you know, those little home recipes. And I was like, oh, I've got the best one. He's like, yeah. I'm like, Milo on ice cream. And he's like, you didn't make that up, man. I'm like, I did. And you're like, no, I don't know if it was you personally, but there were others in the group that went, we do that. I was like, oh. So
Genius out the door.
So maybe I didn't make it up, but I'm just saying I haven't heard that before.
Mm.
So that's my standard. Like if you're engaging in a conversation that is really not necessary and not helpful about someone else's life, or if you are discussing someone else's life or life choices, and then you go and be best mates to their face, that's gossip.
Mm.
Right? So why do people do that? Why do people do those two things? It's to make themselves feel better.
I think that's as simple as it is, just to make themselves feel better.
I think there would be more to it, but baseline, that's my supposition. What's yours?
I think boredom.
Yeah, boredom. Yeah.
He's like, did you hear about Tracy? I actually said to Annie the other day how I don't know, I felt like a horrible human being when I actually admit this out loud. When me and Ange, like I saw her, she commented on one of your posts the other day.
Our Ange?
Yeah.
Eh?
Ange Hawken, yeah.
Yeah,
and I remember, yeah, and I remember when we used to just park in the car and just randomly like people watch and commentate.
Yeah, so fun. So fun.
So bad.
Yeah, well, is that gossip?
It's gossiping about people you don't even know.
Well, is that gossip though? I think that's just plain. That's just blatant judgment.
I do love finding a lookalike. You know, when you're like, oh, yeah, you know, when you see somebody like, oh, that guy looks like Sylvester Stallone.
Oh yeah, that's a fun game. Yeah, it's a fun game.
What's the best one I've seen?
Fun game, actually.
One of my cousins' uncle used to look like Steven Seagal. The ponytail and all.
No, he had a ponytail as well.
Wish I could find a photo of the guy. Am I friends with him? No, probably not.
Put him up on the.
No, I'm just going to see if I can find a photo of this guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, probably not gonna. I don't know. How would I find that? Probably my brother. Yeah. Premieres. Yeah. Thanks for reminding us, Dave. So gossip's not cool though, is it? Like in general.
It's quite childish. Like I don't know. I don't like laughing at other people, and I don't like commenting on their life. I don't like it. Hey, I'm gonna preface that by saying, if they've offended me, I go for gold. That all goes out the window. If they've offended me, I'm like, I'm not very nice.
Dig your heels in.
Yeah, I do. But I'm talking about like if someone's done nothing wrong, but they're just different.
Different. That's a nice way of putting it.
I don't like that.
Okay. Yeah. It's just I'd like to actually try anything, just not to gossip at all for a month. I find it really hard. I can't help but talk about random
Really?
stuff. I don't think I gossip.
You've got 4 friends, mate. What have you got to gossip about?
Not much, really. There's nothing to really ever gossip about at work because we're not the gossip type. I think I like just gossiping about like random things, like things that actually with meaning. Like it's like it's not really that gossip. No, it's not gossip.
That's discussion. It's not gossip.
Yeah, yeah.
We're probably at an age where we don't associate with people that do that.
Yeah, like instead of like today would have been like when Nige messaged me, I would have been like, Nige thinks you're ignoring him, ha 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 ha.
No.
So yeah, I was just like, hey, no, I just heard from you in a bit.
You're like, you better ring your mate. He thinks you've cut him off. I would never. Oh, I hate that he thought that.
I could.
Cut off Nige. Nige cut.
No, yeah, Nige is just like that friend who just hangs around.
He's always, yeah.
It's like a bad smell, but you don't mind that bad smell.
How can you put up with a bad smell?
No, it's a bad smell you like. Like it just pops up when you're not thinking about it. No, yeah, Nige. Good old Nige. It's funny that he's a dad now, actually.
Dad.
Mm.
We love you, Nige.
Yeah, I don't know, randomly something talking about our friends gossiping. All right, cool. Well, I think that's a wrap, my friend.
Yeah.
Friend, it's been a very frenzy episode.
It's
Not frenzy, but friend.
Z. Yeah. I'll be there for you.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
It's a friend song. It's the friend song.
Friends, I've got to say, seriously, most overrated show of all time.
Shut up, man. It's funny as.
I remember liking it, and I tried to watch it. I'm like, what is this?
Have you overwatched it though? Have you watched it?
I watched it like once the first time around.
Yeah.
And watching it now, it's like, oh yeah, humor was different back then. I mean,
yes.
like you didn't have. Yeah, it was very lighthearted and.
Do you think it was the canned laughter that was really aggravating you? Yeah, because no one has canned laughter anymore. So apparently, The Good Place is wrapped up.
Oh yeah, I lost interest in that after. I was just like, it's gone too far for me. It's gone too far.
Do you know what's really interesting? Like we have started it again. I think we're in season 3 because we actually had to go back because there was time between, like we'd left too much time between episodes, so we kind of needed to go back to, because if you don't pay attention to The Good Place, you just get lost.
Mm.
And we're watching it the second time, and I said to Matt, I think I actually, what I love about The Good Place is the characters more than anything. Like the story is good. It's okay, but it's not extraordinary. I think it's the characters and the actors that I'm just like, oh gosh, they're so funny. Love them.
Mm.
And good writing, of course.
Yeah, we started watching a show where we started ages ago, but never like. I remember watching the first couple of episodes, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I like the show. And now I'm like addicted. It's so good. Community.
Oh, is that got Chevy Chase in it?
Yeah, he's like a cameo actor in there.
Yeah,
it's quite good. It's got Donald Glover in there as well.
Oh, has it?
And he didn't realize it was him for like 6 episodes. It's so good. Oh my
That's
God,
awesome.
Donald Glover looks so much younger than you. She's like, oh, that's Donald Glover. I'm like, yep. No wonder why he looks familiar. I'm like, well, that's what it is.
I love that guy.
He's a talented individual, I would say.
Yeah.
All the music, the acting, the stand-up. He's got plenty of what's exceptional? He's more than
thrice exceptional.
Thrice exceptional. I wish I was twice exceptional. That's a really cool label.
Mm.
Oh,
Well,
what are you on the
twice.
exceptional scale? Not even once. I'm just good. Twice
Just,
good.
I'm just
Doesn't even,
here.
doesn't even sound good. Twice
Nah.
good.
Yeah, nah.
The point. All right. Well, that's another episode of True Colors.
Was it though? I don't even. I think we just sat here and chatted the whole time. I don't think we really did anything. This is just basically a recording of our conversation
This is true. It's enjoyable.
for us. Nope.
It's therapeutic.
We need it. We're We're communicators. We need to like flesh things out verbally, right?
All right. Okay then.
Oh, get it.
Okay then. Until next week.
Yep.
I really do hope you have a good week, and
Thanks, man.
if you feel like responding to those social media posts, I suggest you highly do. It might be very therapeutic.
Nah. Bible says turn the other cheek, so I'm going to do that.
Oh, you went a bit too far before then. That wasn't turning the cheek.
That wasn't public. That was a conversation between you and I.
Yeah, but still not turning the cheek. You would have been like, oh, yeah, whatever. But, that was a good rant.
Thanks, man.
I'm very proud.
That's the Mauritian fire.
Oh, you got to keep that fire alive, my friend.
Mm.
Keep the fire alive.
What?
Keep the fire alive.
Okay.
You don't know that song?
Nope. Never heard it before.
Keep the fire alive.
Not that song.
Keep the fire alive. Is that a song? I'm not sure.
I don't think so, man. I don't know what you're singing.
I think it's a song.
You sure?
And on that note, I will see you later.
See you in a week.
Peace.